If you want to learn how to become financially bulletproof in 10 steps, keep watching. Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. If we haven't met before, my name's Angela. I'm your money messenger. I'm here to teach you what you need to know about money. My background's working in financial planning. I've got 20 years experience in that area, teaching people how to save money, grow their wealth, and repay debt faster. So often when people watch my videos, they're focusing on one particular area of money. They're drawn to one topic, such as debt repayment or investing or savings, bank accounts, that type of thing. But often people don't understand just how important it is for all the different areas of money to work together in uniformity in your financial plan. That's what financial planning is. It's looking at all the different areas of money and seeing how they fit together and how they can be enhanced. And it's so important because they complement each other. So whilst you might be interested in one topic or another first, or one might be more interesting to you, it's super duper important that you focus on your overall financial plan. But often people are a bit confused how to do that. They're not sure how it all ties together until one day, someday, they maybe go and see a financial planner. So what I've come up with are my 10 steps to get you financially bulletproof. This is my roadmap, my mud map, my financial plan that I'm giving to you, that if you follow, you will become financially bulletproof. So let's get started. This is how you get financially bulletproof in 10 steps. Number 1, know your money. That means get comfortable with your money, know your money, look into your money, understand your money, incomings, outgoings. That means checking where is your money going, tracking your expenses, reducing, cutting down, getting rid of things that are wasting your money, creating a budget. Sounds boring, budgets sound boring, but it can be just as simple as a piece of paper showing what's coming in, what's going out. Until you understand your money and know your money and see what you've got to play with, you can't make a plan. Number 2, set up your cash flow accounts. My whole money management philosophy it revolves around getting money out of eyesight, getting into different accounts for different purposes, getting my investments done, automated it without me even worrying about it, so that I don't have to think about it and so that I know it actually gets done instead of leaving it to chance. So this comes down to how you set up your bank accounts, which bank accounts you have and for what, and how you set up your cash flow structure. And it's super important so that things are done for you and structured in a way that are foolproof. Number 3, automate your savings and your bills. Pay yourself first. When you automate, things are done, guesswork's taken out of it. Number 1 step to wealth creation is saving. That means paying yourself first. Before you pay your landlord, before you pay the greengrocer, before you pay the petrol company, you have to pay yourself first. You work for you as a number 1 priority, so you should be paid first. So with automation, using your cash flow setup, you can automate your savings to yourself. You can automate your bills as well. When I set up my cash flow structure, I always include a bills account so that my have-tos are taken care of. I don't have to miss a bill. I don't have to worry about where money is coming from for the next bill. And I understand those bills because I've gotten to know my money and my expenses. So everything leads into the next step with this plan. Number 4, save a $1,000 starter emergency fund. This can be done by automating your savings. You've got to save for emergencies. Something will happen. Your car will break down, the fridge will blow up, your computer will blow, you'll drop your phone in a bucket of water. Who knows? Something will happen. And if you start investing first and then an emergency happens and you rip out your investment portfolio after only 6 months, that can be a recipe for disaster. And it's how people go around and around in circles because they haven't got the foundation in place first. So a $1,000 emergency fund, preferably $2,000, is key. It's super important for your long-term plan that you are able to put out your short-term fires. You can do this quicker by selling some random stuff in your house that you don't need, declutter your house. I'm sure you've got $1,000 worth of stuff in your house that you can sell that you don't even use anymore. Declutter, minimize, and actually boost your emergency savings faster than just what your savings can do. Number 5, repay all debts, excluding your home, using the debt snowball method. This is a fabulous way of clearing out bad personal debt that will hold you back and takes money from you to be able to put towards other things like growing your wealth. If you're always paying back debts from past decisions, then you have a limited amount of money that you can put for future wealth creation and growing your wealth. So getting rid of personal debts, credit cards, personal loans, Afterpay, Zip Pay, anything, even though you're not paying interest on those buy now, pay laters, they're still classed as debts. If you go and get a home loan or a car loan, the banks will ask you about those. They are considered debts. So you've got to get rid of all of those personal loans, credit cards, car loans, everything. It needs to go. The interest rates on those are super high. They're going to cost you a lot of money and you're not going to get ahead if you're constantly paying back a loan at 6%, 10%, whatever. That's going to cost more than any investments you can make on the side. So you've got to clear out your personal loans, get rid of them. The debt snowball method is fabulous. It's an easy way of blasting one debt at a time, then snowballing repayments into the next one. And I'll go into more of that in future videos. Number 6, protect yourself. This is done through insurance and estate planning. You've got to protect yourself, your income and your life. They are the most important things in the world. Without those, there's no wealth creation, there's no debt repayment, there's no nothing. You know, if you pass away and you've leaves debts to your estate that perhaps your family have to take care of, or you know, your beneficiaries have to clean up, that's messy and horrible. If you don't protect your income and you get hurt, whether it be at work or on the weekend, and you can't earn an income anymore, then game's over. You're not going to have the life that you deserve with just disability payments, for example. You need to have your income and your life insured as an absolute basis. Home and car, also important, but constantly surprises me how many people have their home and car insured, but not their life and their income, which are most important. Plus your health should also be insured. And there's lots of reasons for having health insurance, not only for the insurance, but also it can save you a whack of tax as well. And then estate planning is about what happens after you die. Like, there's no point in saving all this money and making all this wealth and then something happens, you pass away and it goes to the wrong person, or worse, it goes to the government. Horrible. So you need a will. A will would dictate how your assets are meant to pass, who they're meant to go when you pass away, who you want the money to go to. If you've got children, so important that you include a guardianship clause in your will to know who will take care of them and how that's going to be funded with some extra life insurance. So estate planning is making sure that your wishes now that you have whilst you're alive are actually facilitated after you pass away. So having a financial plan, a full financial plan, means you also protect yourself properly. Number 7, grow your emergency fund to 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. The $1,000 emergency starter fund that you have is key, super crucial. However, it's not enough for long-term protection. If you hurt yourself and you do have income protection insurance, let's say, most of those policies, although they'll cover your income, they have a 30-day waiting period, or some of them have a 90-day waiting period often. So you need to be able to fund yourself for that first before any long-term insurances will kick in. Likewise, if you lose your job and you're able to apply for some sort of government assistance, that too often has waiting periods of several weeks. So you need to be able to fund yourself first in the short term before any long-term protections will kick in. So grow that savings account, your emergency buffer, to 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. And you'll know what your living expenses are because you would have tracked and got to know your money. Number 8, increase your retirement savings to 15% of your income. In Australia, this is done through superannuation. And don't be scared of superannuation. Although it's there for the long term for one day when you retire, that will sneak up on you before you know it. Superannuation is actually also one of the most tax-effective investments available in Australia. The reason it's so tax-effective is because you need to leave it long term for your future retirement. So there are some benefits to growing your superannuation. Your employer, if you're employed, will put in 10% of your salary into your super fund. Not necessarily 10% of your salary, it's usually paid on top of your salary. Depends on your salary package, but superannuation guarantee contributions paid by your employer are usually in addition to your salary. They're calculated as 10% of your normal earnings. So 10% goes into your super fund. That's not usually enough though to get you the amount you need by retirement. Usually on average, 15% is what we say you need to be putting away each year in order to have the money you need in retirement. Because don't forget, when you retire at say 65, average life expectancy in Australia is about 85. So there's a good 20 years that you'll be in retirement. So it's a substantial amount of money that you need to put away. So increasing your contributions to around 15% of your salary means that your employer will put in 10% and then you kick in the other 5%. Now, that can be done in a really tax-effective manner. It can be done as salary sacrifice through your employer, or you can just put it in your super fund yourself and then claim a tax deduction for it through your tax return each year. If you're self-employed and not getting any employer contributions, like me, I'm self-employed, I put in 15% of my earnings into super myself, but I also claim a tax deduction for that. So that means that money comes off my taxable income and I pay less income tax each year to the government. So the payoff of, for me, not being able to touch this money for a fair few years until I'm retired is that I get to pay less tax now, which means paying less tax, more money in my pocket for other investing or debt repayment or whatever you might have. So superannuation, increasing that up to 15%, very tax effective and will help you. I treat it as a backup plan for when I'm older and can touch it after age 60. That's my backup plan, longest term investing. Number 9, buy a home or an investment property. Now, if you don't already have a home or investment property, that means start saving for a deposit. It will take you a number of years to save up a home loan deposit or investment property loan deposit, so start saving sooner rather than later. You have to buy a property somewhere in the world. There's a caveat to that. Not everyone wants to invest in property. That's fine. Then you need to invest more in other areas, whether it be in superannuation or shares or in other investments. But I say to you, buy a home, one property somewhere in the world. You don't have to live in it. It can be an investment, doesn't have to be a home. You need to have a property paid off somewhere in the world by the time you retire in order for you to live in. You don't necessarily have to live in that particular house. It can always be sold and you can buy somewhere else. But the strategy behind it is making sure you have a home in retirement. It will come sooner than you realize. And I am seeing, unfortunately, more and more people now getting to retirement and they don't have a home paid off. Could be because they've divorced, had to start again in life. Could be because they lost money throughout their lifetime through failed business ventures or other things. Could be because they never thought they had enough money to earn to buy a property, so they just never got started. And unfortunately, if they don't then have more money in superannuation, they could be homeless in retirement. When you retire, if you receive the age pension, it's only a few $100, about $500 a week, if that. That's not enough to pay rent and your living expenses in retirement. So in that case, people need to have more money put in superannuation if they don't want to buy a property now to be able to rent in retirement. It's not a bad thing to rent in retirement if you're looking for flexibility to be able to move around, but the caveat to not having your home in retirement is that you have more money saved into superannuation to make up the difference so you can afford to pay market rate rent in retirement and your living expenses. So that's why I say to you, buy a home or an investment. Somewhere in the world, have a house paid off by the time you retire. If you don't want to live in it, you don't have to. Buy an investment property. It's fabulous. The whole strategy behind rent investing, I'm a huge fan, which means you rent where you live intentionally and then you buy an investment property or shares or something else elsewhere. That can be super advantageous, very tax effective as well. So when I say buy a property, it means start saving for a deposit and buy a home or an investment property somewhere, anywhere in the world, as soon as possible. If you already have a home, step 9 means you start paying down the loan faster. Make extra repayments instead. And step number 10, invest and build wealth elsewhere. Once you've got all those steps in place, whatever surplus money you then have left over, keep investing. Property is one thing, having one property somewhere is one thing, but there's also shares, ETFs, other investments you can invest your money into to grow your overall wealth. They all have different features, they have different purposes, they have different tax attractions to them. There's even crypto out there now as well for a little bit of speculative something or other. But it's important to grow your wealth, because when you have wealth, you have choices in life. Investing has different time frames as well. You have your short-term cash emergency savings. You have your long-term superannuation retirement savings. But what about the in-between, the medium and the long-term, but the money that you can still access? You know, superannuation is locked away until you're retired. It's super important to grow your wealth. Give yourself choices in life, whether it's you want to retire early, whether it's you want more income now, whether it's you want to not necessarily work where you don't want to work now. If you have investments and choices, you get to choose where you want to work, where you want to live, how you want to work, the amount of hours you do. You know, if there's something you want, holidays, cars, anything. It's just about having choices in life. If you follow these 10 steps, you will become financially bulletproof. I guarantee you, you will. This is foolproof financial planning. This is how it's done. If you're not sure how to do each one, you know, I could do a video on each of them, and I probably will. But I implore you, grab a copy of my new book. I'm going to plug my book now. Yes, I am, because this is why I wrote it. I wrote the Money Messenger book to teach you exactly how to do these steps. It's all in here. How to save, how to pay yourself first, how to set up your cash flow, how to track your expenses, how to understand your money and know your money, how to get started investing. I've even shown you here how I was able to buy multiple properties. My actual facts and figures are in there. And the most important part right at the back here is your next steps. It goes through exactly what I've spoken about today in great detail. It shows you how to set up your bank accounts and how to get started. So if you want to be financially secure and financially bulletproof, implement these 10 steps. Tell me what step you're up to. Show me your journey. Keep up to date, subscribe, and I'll see you in the future with another video. Bye.